Hi, and welcome to the first ever episode of Geekified Insider, where you've seen me and some of the other guys who do reviews of TV and film. And this time we're actually going to be doing interviews. So we are talking to lots of different, shall we say, tartan talent, if you want to put it. So lots of different people in the field of media, film, TV, playwrights, and you name it, are coming forward and speaking to us in interview settings. And this first one is going to be on Zoom with I'm going to introduce him in a second. This first one is basically just going to be on Zoom, and we're going to be having interviews face to face in the future as well. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have Kenny Boyle. Hi, Kenny. How you doing?
Hi, Chris. I'm all right. How are you?
Good, very, very well. We've bumped into each other in the past, so we had a wee quick hello to each other. So we've kind of done a wee catch up of people we know and love and met along the way of our lives. And it's so lovely to see you. It's really good to see you again.
Yeah, it's really nice to see you too. Like we were just saying beforehand, we've not seen each other in years. I think it might have been longer than a decade. Isn't that weird? Isn't
Probably
the flow of time a horrible thing?
that's time, and what time does to us, and what
Yeah.
time has done to you, Kenny. This. Where did
Yeah.
this come from? It was amazing because obviously we see each other on Facebook, and you kind of know people who are in the industry, and you know people who are doing different projects and stuff. And I'd seen you done bits and bobs, and then next thing you know, something popped up and it was a book. I was like, oh, wow, that's incredible. It seems like a jump because I knew you did playwright stuff. I knew you wrote a lot. That was such a popular thing that I've seen and followed. And then an actual full blown.
I know. Yeah.
What made you have a foray into writing?
Well, it's funny you should mention playwrights because it started as a play. So I wrote it in 2014 as a play called We Never Land, and it was for my dissertation at the Conservatoire. So we could either write something, as in like a big essay, or we could stage a show. And I was like, well, obviously, I'm going to stage a show, which turned out to be far more work, obviously, but it was fun work. So we had to like take a topic that was like in the media a lot at the time and make it into a show. And I chose this thing that was in the Guardian and lots of other places about how there aren't enough strong female characters. And when they say strong, they don't mean like Ripley or whatever. Like they don't mean physically tough. They mean flawed and interesting. And also that there are two male characters to every female character on stage in Scotland, or there was at the time. I don't know if that's still a true statistic.
It's probably not far off, I would imagine. Still, it's not really been a huge push.
Yeah, well, if you see like three-handers, like when you see 300 plays, there'll probably be two guys and one woman. That's just standard. So like that was the big thing that was going on at the time. So I thought I'd try and combat that by writing this one woman play and taking it to the Edinburgh Fringe as my final dissertation. So I did that. It went pretty well. A lot of the things I was writing about in it, I didn't like. It was, it was a crazy year. I was trying to get all this stuff done and writing a play at the same time as doing masters, and wrote the play, and a lot of the stuff that's in it sort of subconsciously, because I was going through this like weirdly traumatic time because it's difficult to get a master's degree. I put things about myself in there that I didn't realize I was putting in there. So then the play finished and it disappeared. And then this pandemic came along. And just before the pandemic hit, I finally went to the doctor and said, hey, what's the deal with my brain? Why am I like how I am? And the doctor said, you have severe social anxiety and mild to moderate depression.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. And but I kind of was though, because up until that point, I was just like, I'm odd and I don't seem to be like anyone else. And then after the doctor said, well, actually, you're so normal that we have names for it and varying levels. Like we've got a scale. You're so normal, there's a scale. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm not that weird after all. And now I have the names for it, so I can start dealing with it. So dealing with it was what we're about to do. I was about to start cognitive behavioral therapy. And then all of the hospitals and doctors and everyone had something bigger to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
So they had
the dreaded vid.
Exactly. That took over, rightly so. I mean, that was more important than my newly discovered mental health concerns, because they're not crippling. I've lived with them my entire life.
Yeah.
So they were like, it's not a priority. So to get through it, I started to write. And as I was writing, I realized that some of the stuff I was writing really related to this play that I wrote in a stressful situation, and things that I must have known about myself without knowing I knew them. So I took We Neverland, the play, and I started to rework it as a book, basically to get through my sudden realization of my mental health problems. I hate problems. I hate that. They're not problems.
I don't think, you know what, I would say there's never been a good word, a descriptive word to label or put any sort of mental health, because it's always something negative. Right. It's always something, it never quite fits with everything. It's never quite the right word. It's always things like problem or I read something the other day, another novelist was talking about mental health stuff that I was listening to, and he came up with a really good word, and I've completely forgot it, which is great for an episode of a show that we're doing. But yeah, it's a really good point, actually, you say that.
Yeah, because issues isn't right. They're not issues, concerns. I mean, I'm not really concerned about them. At this point, I sort of feel like I am who I am because of my quirky brain. And it's not serving me badly. I mean, sometimes I have horrible days, and sometimes I hate how I am. But then at the same time, I don't think I'd be able to sort of create the art and tell the stories I'm telling if it weren't for the fact that I see things slightly differently from the standard. So I'm never grateful to be a bit weird, but I don't think I always hate it. Anyway, that's the story for why I wrote a book.
Well, there you go. And that book is The Tick and Tock of the Crocodile Clock, and that's been out for a little while now, a couple of months.
2 months yesterday.
2 months yesterday. And I can tell you one thing, ever since it landed in front of me, I started to read it, and I was basically working a lot, and I was working away, so it took me quite some time to be able to get the opportunity to read it. And when I read it, I absolutely loved it. And I've got to say, honestly, and I'll be very, very honest, Kenny, this isn't my normal book. This isn't something I would probably pick up. This isn't my style of book. I'm very much a sci-fi guy. I'm very much just kind of action or dark or thrillers, and this is not the type of book that I would have picked up at all. And that's no offense to you, because it just doesn't seem like the genre, but you broke that with this book. Because I genuinely enjoyed it that much. I was like, how did I enjoy it so much? I was like, this isn't something that I would pick up. So well done on managing to get me, who is a very bad reader in general, to be so involved and so indulged in the book in general. So I mean, there's a lot of credit to go to you for that, because I'm such a bad reader in general, and I absolutely loved it. It was such a great ride from start to finish.
Thank you so much. I think that it's weird that I wrote it in a way, because I'm similar to you. I like sci-fi. I like Star Wars, comic books, bit of Star Trek, fantasy books. I love Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, and here I am writing this book that is so genreless that shops don't know what section to put it in.
But that's where I was, because I was thinking when I was doing like some notes and stuff, and I was obviously going to discuss with you, I was like, what is this? I was kind of like, where does this fit? Because it's so bizarre. It's such a different telling of a story, but it's so unique, and obviously because a lot of stuff is from Glasgow as well, so there's a lot of descriptive stuff. So that was also something that was kind of made me feel very much at home while I was reading at it, and it was just such a wild ride is the best way I could describe it, because there's so much diversity in the storytelling this is the thing, I was thinking about different things I can say that happen in the book, and different things that the character Wendy says that happens in the book, and I can't say it without spoiling and stuff. I can't say it without, there's certain things that's said at the end of chapters, there's certain different points that comes up, and I don't want to say those things because it would completely take away from the storytelling. So the best I can say is I absolutely loved it. And my favorite thing is the words. See when bringing up the words, the different words. That was hilarious. I was actually howling at that bit in the call center, especially at the start, using all these old-fashioned words. I felt like I was watching QI.
Yeah. Would you like to know a story about one of those words?
Go for it, please do. Yeah.
One of those words didn't exist until I wrote the book. So I I like to compare myself to Shakespeare because I figure if you're going to be smug, you might as well go big. So I was when I started writing the play in the Conservatoire, I thought like Shakespeare always made up words. He just threw them into his plays. If it wasn't a word that fitted, he just made one up, and then that word came into the vernacular. So I decided to throw into the play the word Kerglaffic. So when I threw in Kerglaffic, that word didn't exist. If you Googled it, you get one result, and it was my play. And that was after the sort of play version of it came out. So then when I was writing the book, I was like, I'm going to try it again. So I kept the word Kerglaffic in the book as it had been in the play. And it went through the editor, and I was like, the editor is going to say, that's not a word. He never said anything. Went to the copy editor. I was like, she's definitely going to flag that up. She's going to say it's not a word. She didn't say anything. So then the book got published, and now there was two results. If you Google Kerglaffic, there was We Never Land the Play and The Tick and the Talk of the Crocodile Clock, the book. And then the Scotsman did a review of it. And the Scotsman said the character of Wendy uses archaic words like Kerglaffic, which is my completely made up word. And the Scotsman gets mirrored in lots of different countries around the world. They mirror their articles in different languages. And obviously there isn't any other language for Kerglaffic because I made the word up. So suddenly now if you Google the word Kerglaffic, you get like hits from all over the world, lots of different publications, and I totally invented the word. And I'm like,
that is absolutely hilarious and bloody genius, if I must say myself. How clever is that? I mean, it's not only are you writing a book, and then obviously it's a push to get your book out there and get people to want to read it, but you made up a word just to tell your book.
Yep, and I'm going to use it in everything I write from now on.
Listen, honestly, if it's not in every single book that you write from now on, or every play or anything, then I'll be very unhappy, Kenny. You have to have that in everything. I'll see if I can fit it in different places. And that brings me to one point. So obviously, when I bought this book, I went out and purchased it, and I purchased two different books. So I've got my own copy, which nobody's going to get, but I also have this copy which is signed by yourself. So I've got two copies that are signed by you. So I'm going to be giving the book away to anybody who writes Kerglaffic in the comments at any point.
Nice.
So that's going to get a little bit more hits. So if you want to win a copy signed by Kenny himself, just down in the comments somewhere, write Kerglaffic. You can write anything you like, as long as Kerglaffic is in that comment section, you will be in the running to win the book, and we'll be giving that book away, we'll say about 2 weeks after this video drops.
Perfect.
But yeah, that's an absolutely awesome story, buddy. Well done. That's incredible. So what is there any? Wendy is such a deep character. It was like the more I think about it, she just seems very real. Is there anything of you that you put into Wendy? Is anything of, did you use words in the call center at all?
Oh no, I got fired from a call center for something completely different. So there is a lot of me and Wendy. I think that whenever a writer writes anyone, especially character that they're close to, there's a decent amount of them in there. But I got fired from a call center for trying to put phrases in. So I hated working in a call center for the same reason that Wendy did, really. Like, it just wasn't for me. I wanted to be doing creative things. So my phrase was, it's better to light a candle and sit in the darkness. So this person got in contact. I've been doing it for a while, and this person got in contact and said, like, hi, I'd like to reverse charges on my account. And I said, sure. I mean, it's better to light a candle than sit in the darkness. So I got fired for that. Yes. So I was fired from a call center job for putting in the phrase, it's better to light a candle and sit in the darkness. And this poor guy was trying to get charges reversed on his account. And I was like, yeah, I can do that for you. Of course I can. It's better to light a candle and sit in the darkness. And then my manager was listening in, and she was like, what is that? What are you doing? And I was like, nothing. It's just, I wasn't doing anything. You must have misheard. And then she went back and listened to all my previous calls. She's like, you're doing this in every single call. And I was like, oh, all right, fine, you got me.
That was you. Quiet. That's absolutely hilarious. So, and I love that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really, really enjoyed the book. It feels so real. It feels as if you're telling real stories, and that's obviously you put different bits of yourself into it, because it just felt like she feels like such a real person. And that's why I was curious to know if it is a lot of you that you've put into it.
I think that part of what makes her feel like a real person is that this isn't too much of a spoiler, I don't think. Part of what makes her feel like a real person is that she's a liar. That's my bloody Facebook going off now, isn't it? Wendy lies just constantly.
Brilliantly as well. Brilliantly.
Yeah, and then she'll just like completely take back massive chunks of what she said and just tell you that it's not true. But I think that's what makes it feel like you're talking to a real person. Like it feels almost like a conversation rather than a one-way thing, because you're with a narrator that's so unreliable that you can't trust the word that she says. But that makes her a real person rather than like words on a page, you know?
Exactly. So where can people pick this up? I know for a fact where I got it was Waterstones, so it was there. So is there any other else? Is there any other bookstores that you definitely know that have got it, or is Waterstones the best place to get it?
It should be available at any bookshop. If it's not in, then they can order it in. But basically anywhere that sells books should be able to sell you The Tick and the Talk of the Crocodile Clock. It's also available through all the usual online places, Evil Amazon and my own publisher's page and Waterstone's page and all of these places. So yeah, anywhere that sells books should have it. And if they don't, they can get it.
There you go. You're getting told by the man himself that should be able to get it absolutely anywhere. But like I said, you can still get one off of me. It's right here. This beautiful copy signed by Kenny himself. So obviously it was a bit of a change for yourself to go from, you've went all the way from acting, like you said, you started studying in the Royal Conservatoire and you moved into acting and you moved into Playwright and moved into books. What's next? What are you doing next? Because honestly, you're a man of many talents, evidently.
So I won the new Playwrights Award and I'm working on that just now to write the new Playwrights Award play. That has been really difficult, but I think it's been difficult in a good way. It's been really hard to write. They sort of fought me at every corner and there's been about 1 billion drafts, but I think that maybe that might mean that the end product is good, like when you put loads of pressure on coal and it turns into a diamond. I'm hoping that happens. I've also got my debut radio play coming out on Radio 4 in August, on the 18th of August. So that's a big deal. That's pretty cool as well.
That's really cool.
It's a ghost story set in the Isle of Lewis. So that might actually be more your sort of general genre.
Yeah, probably. You're right up my street there, mate. That's exactly the kind of stuff that I love. But again, sorry, I'm kind of waiting for your next book. I don't even care who it is. That was absolutely fantastic. When you say, like, obviously you're from Lewis, I mean, there is quite some amount of people from the arts that came from Lewis. You've got, I mean, like a small list here, and when I googled it when I was doing my research, you've got Alistair Campbell, John Munro, Angus Campbell. There's a ton of people who were involved in literature, poetry. Everything is like, it's such a good culture of people seem to come out of Lewis, and now you've got a very modern person coming out now and doing such a very different style of book.
Yeah.
And have you ever touched on poetry yourself?
Yeah, well, I suppose I've sort of I've dabbled in poetry a little bit. There's a wee bit of poetry in the book as well, I suppose, but I've never really been able to be a poet, I think, because I like to say things in too many words and I'm not concise enough. It's funny about that creative people coming from Lewis, because my village has less than 50 people in it. And I thought, like, nice, I'm going to be the most famous person from Cremore. But then during the lockdown, this other guy started doing TikTok videos. He's a baker. He started doing TikTok videos doing his baking in Cremore, and America loved it. So this guy goes like super viral, and he's got a book out as well, a like baking book, and it's like way beating mine. And I was like, okay,
let's not name it.
Yeah,
we're not going to name it. We're not going to talk about that.
I was like, I'm not the most famous person from Cremore, even though there's only 50 people. But what makes it worse is I'm not even the most famous person from Cremore called Kenny, because that's his name too.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. He's called
But do you know what? You'll get a really good crossover, because anyone who Googles Kenny, you're going to get two of you. So you can look at baking stuff all you want, or you can look at a really good novelist and playwright.
Totally. I wonder if we are like the highest percentage of authors to head of population. Because
honestly, like when I looked at research and I was looking, everybody was a poet or a playwright or wrote something or did something. I was like, wow, that's absolutely incredible.
There's nothing else to do.
Not a good internet connection in Lewis then.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So that's really good. I'm looking forward to seeing the next project. Is the world of Wendy going to continue at any point? Have you got anything in your head? Any part of a story that could happen? I think we get an exclusive.
Yeah, maybe. So I don't really know what's going to happen next, but I think that Wendy might have more to do. She might have more story to sort of delve into, but maybe as like a secondary character to someone else's main character, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I also like have this thought of maybe going back and doing stories in the past and having the other main character of the book in that, Kat. So to see what happens before for her, but again, maybe as a sort of secondary character to a new main character. Yeah, and I also have this like mad idea of doing something about the goths at the galleries, of whom I was one, back when that was a big thing. Yeah, exactly, right.
We all took a turn on those steps.
So I think that would be a really fun thing to write a book about as well, but I don't really have a plot for that one, just a sort of general idea that it would be quite fun to write about the old goth days.
Because obviously I can imagine whatever you go into writing next, and whatever novel you move into writing next, there's a very specific style of how this comes across, which is beautiful. It's stunning. There's honestly, it's so indulgent to your brain as you're reading it. It's so interesting the way that it's written, and it would be a shame not to. I'd love to be able to continue and see a little bit more of that world of that kind of storytelling and stuff. The way you've done that again, it would be, because like I said, I won't spoil anything about the ending or anything that happens, but I'd just love to see a little bit more. So that's why I was looking forward to it. I'd love to see a bit more of anybody in that book.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic to hear. Yeah, I think I'd love to see more as well, actually. I think I'd like to see where it goes. Is that sort of weird thing where like when you're writing, things reveal themselves to you that like obviously are coming from your imagination, but it feels like you're getting to hear the story for the first time too.
Yes.
So, yeah, it might be quite fun to go further and see where she goes next.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't have very much else to say apart from this. Go and buy it. It is absolutely excellent. I am 100% giving it a 5 out of 5. And I'll say to anybody who doesn't normally read this sort of book, I've done it. I read it for a very specific reason, and I absolutely loved it. It was very, very different. It's a very, very different world. And like I said, it's a 5 out of 5. And that's coming from the same as you just said, Kenny, like a Star Wars fan, a Mandalorian fan.
Yeah.
Just crazy comic book reader. This is a feast for your eyes and your brain. I swear to God, it was so good. So thank you very much for joining me, Kenny.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. A feast for your eyes and your brain is a great quote. That's fantastic.
You can stick that on wherever you want, mate. That one's for me. But yeah, again, it's like if you do want to get a copy of the book, obviously go out and buy it. If you want a copy of this one right here, please. I forgot the word. What was the word again?
Oh, Kerglaffic.
Kerglaffic. Yeah, I forgot, because there's quite a few words that's in the actual story. But Kerglaffic. Put Kerglaffic in the comments, and you'll be in the running to get this sent to you after this video. Again, thank you very much for joining me, Kenny. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you soon.
Cheers.